the information that Dawn sent the other day.
Right.
I guess, Lindsay, the only question I have, ain't that thing over here, the stabilization underneath the courthouse, correct?
Yeah,
That's about all we need.
I believe that's correct, yeah, they'll do testing probably on the ground concrete, I'm saying, in the corner. I think that's the one that, I'm sorry, I was, yeah, so Randy's doing that, but I believe that's correct.
And also the solar one?
Oh, here's some more. No.
I think we did that backfill.
Yeah, there, yeah, you're right, there was some soil testing, that's how we call it.
Yeah, that's what it's for. That's the report, they'll put some of the tests to make sure it's got correct impression.
Yeah.
Motion. Commissioner Connell, second. Commissioner Wiley, all in favor?
Right. You're right, it is, man.
Item 9, Brian Davis, Texas Agro.
Number 8.
Item 8, discuss and take action on construction material testing for Wilson County Furnace Justice Center. Motion. Commissioner Wright, second. Commissioner Wiley, all in favor?
Aye.
Item 9, Brian Davis.
Because today, I did one.
Brian sure did change. Yeah, a lot better looking.
For those of you that don't know, my name is Jocelyn Kutzer. I'm the Wilson County 4-H agent, and here with me today is our FCS agent, Michelle Ailywine, and we also have an intern for this summer. It's Kendra Bilbrud. This is actually our first time to have an intern, so we're really excited to get her going on all of our 4-H stuff. What we wanted to bring to y'all today was just an update of some of the great things that our 4-Hers have done this year. 4-H years from August to August, so we're about wrapping up, and just some of the stuff that I brought that's on the flyer. We brought home from last week at Texas 4-H Roundup, we brought home $71,000 in Texas 4-H scholarships. That's only 7 children that even received those scholarships, so that was a really, really exciting thing. We brought home over $300,000, and that's a low guesstimate, from the major livestock shows, La Vernia Stock Show, and Wilson County, just in the auctions. And we had 32 youth participants in the Texas 4-H Roundup. We were actually definitely the biggest in our district to bring kids, possibly one of the biggest in the state. We had anything from rescue rally, meats judgers, poultry judgers, kids that were doing public speaking. I'm not going to go through every single one of them that participated, but you can see on here that we kicked butt and took names. So it was a really good deal, and we even had kids participate in the 4K this year along with Michelle and I, so that was a really neat thing. One other thing I wanted to bring up is we actually received a $500 travel grant from Texas 4-H since we were one of the bigger counties. So that is going to help our kids offset some of the costs that they had to incur to go to College Station. So we just wanted to show you what our kids are making leaps and bounds, doing all kinds of good stuff. So
How is membership? Is it,
we have over 450 members. When I started here last October, it was almost 2 years now. We were at almost 400, so we've gained a good amount. Our goal this year was 450, so we've made that, and I'm excited.
excellent,
Yes.
excellent.
So what was the first place recipe?
The recipe rally, she actually, that is a really unique contest, that she actually had to pretend like she was in a cooking show, where she had to, while she's talking and making the dish, the theme this year was breakfast, and she made,
French toast waffles.
yes, with blueberries, and even, she had a
Carrot
smoothie.
ginger smoothie.
Yes,
Oh, my.
yes,
Oh,
it was.
And you didn't bring any?
We'll bring it next time.
Maybe we'll bring her to give your presentation.
Now, is that a receipt or a recipe?
It's a recipe.
Oh, okay.
We just definitely wanted to show you what the great things are.
Well, we do appreciate all you do, and it's very rewarding to go to the different events for the 4-Hers and see the progress and everything, and know that they're representative of Wilson County. Thank y'all very much for your work.
Thank you. Very good job.
Thank you. And we're gonna sneak out, we're headed to skier validation for more kids. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Item 10, Dixie Store, Wilson County Librarian, discuss and take action on accepting gift of movie license in USA year-long subscription to show movies in the library from the Friends of the Library.
And she's not here, and she asked me if I would just comment on that, because I worked with her on the movie licensing contract, which allows them to basically use, looks to me like any movie in the world, but we're doing it legally, we signed a contract. And then the Friends of the Library made a gift of the cost of it. So she just wanted y'all to accept the gift.
Okay. Mr. Gomez? Mr. Bob, all in favor?
Is that on the, I thought I read that on the,
Yes, it's in.
this one. Oh, okay. And I got confused on my way. We already tested this.
The next item 11, is discuss and take action on ratifying mass gathering permit for rally and race of heroes. That was held on the 23rd. It came in late. We didn't, rather than to call a meeting, Dawn contacted the people that are to be contacted for the permit normally and got their go-ahead, so went ahead and approved it based on that, so. Motion, Commissioner Miles, second. Commissioner Morales, all in favor?
All right.
Item 12, discussion of potential action shall occur regarding Wilson County entering into an interlocal agreement between the city of Livonia, Texas and Wilson County, Texas for construction of an all-weather road upon an easement held by the city to improve egress and ingress of the city's wastewater industrial life station.
Commissioner Morales, but we worked, beat it to death and worked out an agreement. And this is the,
Motion, Commissioner Morales, second. Commissioner Wiley, all in favor?
All right. Thank you, Catherine.
14, discuss and take action on buying new asphalt distributor and tandem chip spreader.
It's 13.
13, discuss and take action on request for proposal for Wilson County Criminal Justice Center. The proposals, we want to table that till the end of the meeting and then we'll discuss it overnight. Item 14, discuss and take action on buying new asphalt distributor and tandem chip spreader for use by all precincts on buy board.
This is the deal that I put on, Josh, it's the two pieces of equipment that we really need, for roads, for chip sealing, and, we need also a distributor truck. That, we're paving a lot of roads, and this is two pieces of equipment that's really needed in the county, and it's gonna benefit all the precincts also, so.
Judge, I agree with Commissioner Gamez that we need to do something different than what we have right now. I think we're being a little hasty, in my opinion, in moving forward on these pieces of equipment, unless there are no other alternatives. As an example, the chip spreader that we're looking at, let me find the sheet here, is $233,000, and we're looking at, is the distributor truck $99,000? Is that what I said?
Yeah.
The price on that, I don't think is all that out of line. The one we're looking at is a marvelous piece of equipment. We tested it over in my precinct. The concern I have is twofold. It has all the bells and whistles, all the computer equipment that you would want. Without getting into detail, it does a marvelous job. My concern is twofold, the cost, and secondly, since we do not have a formal paving program, you have a piece of equipment that's $200 and some odd thousand that's sitting there essentially 11 months out of the year. Because between the four of us, we're not gonna use it a full month. And I have a concern about that. You can't rent either one of these, and so that is an issue. Cooper Equipment, just as an example, offers a chip spreader at Nair, that's what we have now, without the bells and whistles, for $165,000 to $170,000 new, which is $60,000 more or less below the other one. And there are auction houses in the state that offer this type of equipment on occasion. Now, you have to be pretty cautious, obviously, because you could buy a pig in a poke. The distributor truck, if we, at $99,000, that's probably not that bad a deal. The one that we use in general, the chip spreader and the distributor truck that's primarily used, precinct 3 and precinct 4 on together. And both of them are in pretty bad shape. Now, I don't know what the cost would be, because of those old Etnires, I mean, they go on and on and on. I don't know if the one we have could be refurbished. On behalf of not precinct 3 and 4, but the entire county, if we could donate that and it could be refurbished, if it could be refurbished for $25,000 or $30,000. I mean, the thing basically works. We've been chip sealing everything we've chip sealed with it, with the exception of the road test that we did with the other one. I would suggest that we give it another 30 days or until August the 1st and appoint a committee to just look at other alternatives. I am concerned again about the cost when we do not have a formal paving program, and I'm concerned about this chip spreader with all the marvelous bells and whistles sitting there 11 months of the year, and you get on and the computer and everything else does not function, whether we're going to have a lot of high cost maintenance, as opposed to taking a closer look at the basic Etnire, which for what we're doing would probably be fine. So that's my proposal. But one, I do not disagree that we need to do something, because we do. But the other, if we were about to, and we're not, but if we were about to propose a road bond of $5 or $10 million to convert a lot of base covered roads into pavement, then this machine would make a whole lot of sense. But since we're doing, you know, between all four of us, 15 to 20 miles a year, that's a big percent.
Mr. Johnson, would you be in violation of the meeting if two of the commissioners worked and two of them worked on the project separately from each other to come
No,
up?
I think if they work separately.
But with two, like what I was gonna say, I think it's a good idea to, but the question that needs to be answered is how much the alternatives, what's the cost, and how are you gonna administer, you gonna set up a central yard for it, or are you going to rotate it from precinct to precinct? All those things as to how it would operate.
Some of that's been answered from what I have heard and what I've understood, is that it would probably be, at this point, would be left at one precinct. If we go with the more expensive piece, that we'd have one operator, because it's fairly complex. Matter of fact, my guy did my road, and then he went over and did precinct 3.
What you may want to look at too is like establishing a central yard for this equipment. And like you said, with that operator, and then assign some duties outside of this too, if it can only be done in the summer, assign some duties, you know, that can be utilized throughout the county.
But it might be able to be done in conjunction. I know we've had conversations about getting a boom axe again, and having someone who would go around and clear brush throughout the county. And I don't know if that's someone that does that,
Well,
could or could not.
I guess I get off
I'll
of
get
the
to that
subject,
track.
but there's a lot of questions to answer, and what I would suggest is that, all those questions we just talked about, whichever way, two of you on one team, two on another team to come up and then bring it to the court.
And how you wanna set it up, because I think, by looking at it, I know it's kinda costly with the price of one machine, but we gotta do something pretty quick. Because I'm already about through paving all my roads, and now I gotta go back and start resealing all my roads. And with good pieces of equipment, you can go a long way, even though we don't have enough money to do so many mileage. But 5 or 6 miles per year, I mean, you can go a long way. So you gotta start somewhere. And I think it's the time already to start doing something, so.
What's it, Commissioner, what, you said the Cooper, or was it different?
It is Etna, which is what we have now.
It's just a different,
all I did was talk to them and told them what we were doing, told them we had an old Etna. I told them that we were typically seal coating 10 foot to 12 foot. We're not doing anything particularly wider than that. That we were doing, I told them, 20, 25 miles a year at the max. What's the price for a base unit? And that's what they told me, 165 to 170. And I think we should, I love the one we have. I mean, if we were seal coating all the time, just the things that it does are marvelous, but all those marvelous things have to be kept up. And if we could get, if this Etnire is anything like the one that we've had forever, only a new one, that's a pretty simple machine to keep for the most part. And I think that we should probably take a look at that. At the same time, you can't rent them. I've looked, on occasion you can rent them, but I've been told, but that's just an occasion. So from the standpoint of used ones are available, but they're not available every day. And it's usually a situation where someone's had a small paving business and they have gone out of business, and then you've got emulsion trucks, and you have a chip spreader that's available, but you gotta be at the right place at the right time, or at the right option at the right time, which is a possibility, but not necessarily a probability.
All those questions, we'll take them in consideration and table it for 30 days.
Yeah, we'll take it for 30 days and come back.
And, that way, and we'll put it on there as a workshop, take action, whatever, as to,
So how do you want to divide it up?
Did I recommend Commissioner Gomez and Morales, because they've been kind of working on this, to,
who then?
Commissioner Gomez and Commissioner Morales, they've been kind of working on it.
And then you and Commissioner Wiley work on it, also bring some alternatives.
We'll go up to Cooper and take a look at what they have.
Yeah, can do that.
Have them tell us about it.
Is any counties operating this new one that you know of, that they've sold to? so far?
Not to my
Any
knowledge.
entities that you know?
Karnes County looked at it. It quite frankly is probably one, when they were gonna do the demonstration, they were gonna have Hunter, who's doing paving for TxDOT, do the presentation, but they didn't have time to do it or to use it. And so they picked precinct 4 as a secondary location because it was close to Karnes County.
Okay, well, thank all of you for your cooperation and working together on that. Well, there's no need to go to 15 then?
No.
Item 16, discuss and take action to approve hourly rate services to cover the coordinating and administration of the information required by the Texas Historical Commission for securing the grant awarded funds for Wilson County Courthouse. The hourly rate is expected not to exceed $21,000. See, Judge Jackson and myself. Lindsay, we went and met with the, Tom, you went with us, and it's quite extensive of what he's going to have to do to comply with the grant and make sure. And so, I don't think it kind of lines up.
Is this what Lindsay has to do, or?
Yes, and it's like I said, it's like coming through major hoops. Like I said, Tom was there, he can tell you.
That's a historical commission.
Yeah, we had this binder we all came away with requirements. Basically, it's almost like a third party review each draw application that comes in on the courthouse. They want to be copied on it. They probably want to come down at least once a month to review the process. We have to photograph it and send it to them, even to the extent that they'll retain about 10% of the grant money towards the end. And so they basically have a binder system that we then have to compile for them with photographic. They used to require proper photographic images done professionally as part of their filing system. So it's pretty extensive on what they're requiring. A little frustrating that they didn't let us know this was required earlier. But again, I think the easiest way to do it hourly and it's less. It just covers ourselves on what we need to do.
That grant money is gonna be used only for the outside foundation or for the interior also?
It's for the envelope.
That's on the envelope.
Yeah.
Foundation and
The walls, window repair.
450. Motion. Commissioner Final second. Commissioner Wiley, all in favor? Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 17, Leanne Hochak, EMC. 1, temporary water lines. A, Lone Star Operating LLC, Precinct 2, County Road 207. B, Lone Star Operating LLC, Precinct 2, County Road 206. Information on. Item 2, Westfield Ranch Subdivision, Unit 1. A, drainage and access easement dedicated in lieu of an HOA developer is assuring the maintenance and detention ponds by an easement which will be recorded in the county clerk's official records. Discuss and take action.
What this is, our subdivision regulations require that if detention ponds are being utilized to meet the drainage requirements, that the county does not maintain the detention ponds, and it's the responsibility of the developer to set up an HOA for the purpose of maintenance. The developer, Paul Cleveland, who's here, if you have any questions, was asking in lieu of the HOA to provide a document that would ensure maintenance by someone other than an HOA. And the committee gave it a favorable recommendation contingent upon the county attorney's office working with his attorney, coming up with a document. And they have developed a drainage and access easement dedication. And do you want to explain to them what that is?
It's really, it took us a while to get it, but it's really basically simple. Mr. Cleveland and his brother are going to maintain the detention ponds until that property is sold, and they're gonna make sure that there's a restrictive covenant in the deeds when they sell it, that whoever they sell it to will maintain the detention ponds. And it's in perpetuity, it's not just for,
So the county don't have no part in it?
Correct.
And what started this was the fact that the detention ponds are not on the unit that he's developing right now, but ultimately will be on subsequent units. So we needed the assurance that they would be maintained if for some reason the subsequent
And
properties.
so to restate, they'll take care of it if they don't develop any further, if something happens and they stop. It's their responsibility, and that responsibility would continue should they sell the property to someone else.
Correct.
If it goes forward to phase two, and that's a part of phase two, then if Tom buys one of those lots, Tom will be made aware that he is responsible for that detention pond with his property.
Yes, it would be noted on the plat, plus by having an actual document filed in the official public records, that would come up in the title search.
And what's an HOA? So we've got probably more protection here than you have with the homeowner association.
right, and that's really where the problem was. If we forced them to do a homeowners association and it never came about, then there was.
Well, all of them that I've seen over the years have been there in name only pretty much, you know. There's no
Which means no one has responsibility for it.
motion, Commissioner Wiley, second, Commissioner Fowler. Item B, review and approval of final subdivision plat. Yeah, please respond.
She tried. I hope you I thought you did. So what's wrong with that pen then? I was too close to them. So yes, that was, that's not done right. No, they're.
You can make a
A
motion.
motion on it.
Yes.
On the plat, motion. Commissioner C, discuss and take action on accepting a letter of credit for $212,958.
There's not anything to be said about that, is there?
No, that's for the, construction, of the roads and the retention, drainage requirements.
Motion Commissioner Wiley, second Commissioner Morales, all in favor? Thank you, ma'am. Item 18, financial report.
This is the original.
It's that time of year again where I started taking funds out of tax pool.
Any questions, comments? Motion. Commissioner Morales, Commissioner McDonald, all in favor? This the original?
Yeah, this is it.
Everything about it, all the other years?
Yes, sir. Right on the target.
Item 19, payroll and personnel changes.
Bonnie Holcomb retired 5/29/2014, Department 420 as a warrant clerk. Ariel Solis was hired 6/10/2014, Department 320, $1,750 a month as the county attorney secretary. Jordan Kenmore was hired 6/13/2014, Department 700, $8 an hour, part-time library clerk. Kenneth Theatric was hired 6/16/2014, Department 140, road hand for Road and Bridge 2. Aurora Garcia is gonna retire 6/30/2014 from Department 280 as a clerk for the district clerk. Annalise Martinez is gonna transfer on 6/30/2014 from dispatcher to jail secretary. And Chad Clark passed away 6/22/2014, Department 480, Constable Precinct 2.
Questions, comments? Motion.
How
Commissioner
many
Wiley.
years, Buddy, have you? How many years, Buddy? Been in the county?
Well,
she
Morales.
Came back.
26 years altogether.
Wiley Morales on
Is that what it
the
was?
first and second.
Why is it Morales?
Yes.
Thank you, Neil.
All in favor?
Aye. No, no. I mean, what is that?
T-shirt.
Oh, yeah?
Wasn't that just
Oh,
a-
this is.
Okay. Yeah.
Questions, comments on bills? Not motion? Commissioner Downers, Commissioner Rouse, all in favor? We'll go back to item 13 and discuss in open court, and then if necessary, we'll probably go into.
Yeah.
You wanna? You need my copy of yours?
I need another one.
So I provided to you a breakdown on the scoring schedule value sheet that we published it over the weekend, after receiving the bids on Friday. So we had 7 return bids, which we opened and very few were present, so we let them know what the proposal price was. Ranging from the lowest initial bid proposal of $4,169,458 to the highest, that was provided by the Sullivan Contract Services, LCD. Up to the highest of Guido Contracting Service at San Antonio at $5,299,000. We also had alternate pricing included, which one of those we did the seal proposal route that they can provide suggestions to, and I'll add alternates to adjust pricing accordingly. So what we did is we took the 3 lowest figures in order from the proposal to C, being in order the lowest Sullivan Contracting Services, then the Hale Company, and then our road. And when we put them together in that scoring matrix, and we can, based on the requested proposal scoring matrix that we've included, you can see on the outline right there, on the front page, it has the 3 companies. The right, it has the base bid, their alternate bid line items, how they can save money. And then below that is a smaller rectangle that shows how they were scored, based on things such as organization, price, and scheduling, experience, etc. As part of the package you have is the actual scoring sheets were actually provided and attached from the office.
The Kohler, they're out of Guadalupe County, aren't they?
Yes, it is.
They're the ones doing the courthouse.
Okay. And so,
That is something also.
okay.
And then Rhodey, I believe, they also put out a Wilson County there.
Sutherland is doing work in Guadalupe County too.
Yeah. And actually, Drew Pansdale, Douglas Sullivan came in this morning, just to, maybe he wants to have any questions, he made himself available for anybody. So the second page in actually then recaps the bids that came in. I'll just put as a quick reference you have there for the based on. And then the subsequent page then shows how the scoring matrix was applied. As you can see, go back to the front page. Scoring factor-wise, the other company that provided 2 bids prior to this, they scored 78, Sullivan an 88, and R.L. Roden a 63, based on that score matrix. The score matrix is, we've done that on our county projects in the past on numerous occasions, and we go by methodologies been used in the past, federal-wise in other counties.
What would make the difference when you look at the 3 that have the lowest bids? Kaler, Sullivan, and R.L. Rhodey. Kaler and Rhodey, their alternate is a little higher than the bid, but Sullivan is significantly lower. What contributes to that?
I think part of the way when you go through the bid proposal process, they look at each line item and each option you can have. And I think some of the way that they craft them together, it's their approach to the way that they price things as well. For example, I mentioned this before, met this a couple months ago. The engineers designed it with a chilling tower system for the new Commissioners Court facility. There are different options to go on the HVAC system. There's a stage down lower than that, and there's also going with individual units. So I think it depends on how they put the pricing together, depends on which approach they think is the best way to do it. I don't think there's any set methodology to it, but they put, for example, we had an alternate where there's the clear story system runs across the top of the roof, that could be added in, could be taken out. So the proposal enables us to look, speak with individuals and say, well, they can say, well, I think there's some money to be saved here, some money to be saved there, this may cost you more, this may cost you less. So I think depending on what we get with them, I think as we can, particularly when the solutions are, we didn't get numbers until Friday, so we put the matrix together, but we can now start to go in and find out.
So it's a matter of Sullivan looking at alternatives, so to speak?
Yes, exactly.
He raised his hand.
Yeah.
You mind if I speak?
No,
to-
certainly.
I can speak to our philosophy and how I look at that with our team. I know that generally speaking, especially when we're, doing a project like this, functionality and look, all those things come into play, but there's a lot of times where functionality doesn't have to be adjusted at all, but we can come up with ways to do it that are much cheaper. Well, I can't in my base bid go put those in, so you're looking at apples to apples, but we discussed and we had a lot of phone calls with Lindsay and his team to make sure we understood the functionality, the needs there, and then we said, hey, so if that's the premise, what the function needs to be, let's give them some alternatives to take that number down, that'll still meet the need. I mean, Lindsay hit the nail on the head on probably the largest one we found was in the mechanical system. What that does on a project is it'll take a little bit of time before we kick off, so we're all on the same page, just to make sure we're moving forward in the right direction, but it's time well spent because we go, hey, look, we could save some money here, save some money there. The number that I'm sure that's on there is not gonna be necessarily the number that when we sit down and go through that you guys say, yep, that's where we wanna be. Because there are things that we said, hey, we could propose to take a different look at the millwork, or we could take another look at the clear story, or we can take another look at this, but they're all things that we felt like that were viable options to preserve the functionality, still give you the look you're looking for as far as the structure.
I'll give an example. We're working with Trainers Company on the Ag 4-H building in Seguin right now. And that was a sort of very interesting project in that it's an old 50s building. It's got a raised slab, about 4 feet high, I guess, from grade internally. We were giving life back to the building for the 4-H department back again. There were certain limitations we have with the building, that it's got a wood first floor deck, almost a wood construction, with actually a wood roof system for the second floor. We had options there. We visited with the ADA folks. When we did the original bid to it, we actually had an option, which is a very rare thing to have. ADA said we didn't have to put an elevator in if we didn't want to. That's a big ticket item. It was $100,000 plus line item. The county elected to put it in. They thought, well, our building for the second floor services would possibly be used for maybe more elderly folks for cooking classes and things like that. So they thought, for the benefit of the county and the longevity of the building, it would perhaps be best to keep it anyway. Things like the HVAC system there was very low ceilings. They had an old system that was neatly come out. So we had an option of going with 1 or 2 different ways on the HVAC system as well, where the open spiral duct closed down. So we started with a number, but we've already started to realize savings as we've gone through. They could have started less and realised the savings up front. They started reverse it, they stayed in with the base bid, and they came down from that later on.
One of the things you talk about maybe is doing away with this.
Yes, that's right, that's not right down at this, as the clear story through here.
It's cosmetic only.
And what it does, it enables us to bring, we put it there because it enables us to bring light down into the centre of the building as well. So that was, and I think it helps break up the roof line, but again, it's something that if we could save money elsewhere, then maybe we could keep it. And that's what part of the good thing of doing what we do, is that we're able to mix and move things around, and we take priorities and let the county make priorities on what they want to do. For example, the engineer designed for a chiller system, which is the top of the line system for it. I mean, you'll get a, can I'm wrong, but we'll get a 30-plus year life cycle out of a chiller system, but it's very expensive. Requires a high rate of three-phase system to function. Yet it'll outserve the county needs for many decades. There's different systems that come down below that, right down to almost using the high efficiency residential AC systems. But even today, I mean, whereas 10 years ago they maybe had a 10 to 15 year life, the HVAC system telling us that they're 20, 25 year plus. That can then affect the wiring category that we need. We probably still need to keep three-phase, but some of the wiring supply system is more efficient and probably a little bit cheaper. So when we get into it, that's what we'll look at looking at that. That's basically what I trade with.
Yeah, I mean, nothing that we propose, like for instance, the units we're talking about, these are units that are commercial grade. I mean, we put them in, I put them in the San Antonio Public Safety Headquarters for their emergency side department because you can wire direct to them. Super, I mean, they are a very reliable unit. They do the job really well. They put them in like data rooms and data closets because they cool those rooms really well. You can do a lot of things with them, but they don't have the equipment cost and some of the long-term maintenance that, say, the chiller systems have. Like I said, I think the chillers are great, they're excellent, but I think that there's other ways to skin the cat, if you will.
Maybe just got a question on the point system that you did on, where it says bid, on the bid part. I know there's like $100,000 difference in price between Sutherland and Taylor, but yet there's like 16 points difference. When y'all did the point deal, how did y'all?
Well, Randy, if you flip over the pages, Randy actually did a scoring way. He took the lowest and the highest on the three bidders, and then he then divided that by a factor of 55,000, and then came up with a point reference per 1,000. Then applied that, multiplied that by the bid for each of them, which came up with the scale factor to it. I think that's the way he's done it in the past with
Do you bid this way generally, where you have base bid and then an alternate bid? Is that?
I would not say, I mean, it really depends on the project. A lot of what I do, we do a lot of jock work, we do a lot of work for clients that don't have as developed drawings as this project. I mean, these drawings were 100%. Those cases, it's just kind of the nature of what we do, to go in and you try to value engineer with the client to help put together that plan initially. The reason that I approached this job in this way is really because Lindsay and I've worked together in the past, and we always feel like if we can work together and get the product the client wants the most economical way, that it makes for the happiest of all three of us. So that's really, it was based on, we approached it this way because of our experience together, because we know that we can sit down and work between the three of us and really come up with solutions. And I think just, so to answer the question, most of the time, no, we don't go into as much depth to really add alternates for savings as we did here. We really tried to spend a lot of time on, sorting through where we thought we could pick up some savings.
I guess, Judge, I'm sorry, I'm asking so many questions, just trying to understand this.
Can I elaborate on that?
I've never done a project like this, in my past life, I built out a lot of retail locations, primarily in malls. And in those, you'll have your plans as you go in, and at a point as things start to begin to come together, then, and you can see it, not being an architect, then you can say, well, what if we did this, or what if we did that? Some of that would have to do with the fact that I have a budget and it's not quite working out the way we thought, so could we cut this back and save some money? I'm assuming that this is the same sort of thing that you get into, because one, when you do the courtroom and we elevate, and we know what that's going to be, then you're getting a feel for what are some of the needs are going to be. Then you can take a look at that hall and say, boy, we really ought to have that overhead that we have in there, or I'm starting to worry about where we're gonna head price-wise, and we could cut that out. Is that the?
That's exactly right, and I'll give you a great example. We on the ag building, when they had like a double level ceiling, it had an old stuck ceiling, and then you had a ceiling 12 inches above it, and then a couple of ceiling tiles were missing, and I was walking through there one day, and I was looking at the old pine, basically the floor joists, and they've got the old, they've got 1x6 tongue glue, I think, right? Onto the deck of the floor above, which then actually has 3/4 oak floor on top of that. So we got there one day and they started demoing everything out. And prior to that, we were looking and I thought, you know what, that looks really nice up there. And we thought, well, maybe rather than coming back with the expense of putting a suspended ceiling in, because they have a very short ceiling anyway, how about we take everything out? And it was a bit of a sales job because some of the folks we're dealing with are not used to seeing things like we are with exposed spiral ducts. But they start to understand that ag building, metal,